Republicans are using their narrow majority to force the American people to pay higher gas prices just as big oil companies are amassing record profits. What's even more alarming is that this is not the only attempt by House Republicans' majority to raise costs on middle-class families. House Republicans are also pushing a tax increase on middle-class families, an inflation-worsening tax cut for the rich, and high prescription drug. Republicans are using their narrow majority to force the American people to pay higher gas prices just as big oil companies are amassing record profits. What's even more alarming is that this is not the only attempt by House Republicans' majority to raise costs on middle-class families. House Republicans are also pushing a tax increase on middle-class families, an inflation-worsening tax cut for the rich, and high prescription drug. Republicans are using their narrow majority to force the American people to pay higher gas prices just as big oil companies are amassing record profits.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Jericho Show.
Welcome to the revolution.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing freaking fantastic. Get in the chat. Tell me how you're feeling. How you're doing. Let me just say this. So I just got done watching Steven Crowder on Timcast IRL. Saw a lot of people live streaming it. I didn't know you could dual live stream. Maybe we'll do that occasionally if the guest is interesting. I will say this about Steven Crowder, Daily Water. I think people are coming from two different sides, two different worldviews, and they're at a stalemate. But I agree with Crowder. I'm just going to be honest. I think that if in order to fight culture, you have to not worry about money. And it can't be a business venture in order to fight culture. Things like the March for Life and stuff like that. You have to be willing to put your money where your mouth is in order to affect change and affect the culture. Culture is you kind of have to take the L on it. Unfortunately, that's the part of culture that's so hard. That's why, you have things like Christianity and religion and stuff like that to push the culture. They're not looking to make money. I know some people actually do make money and stuff like that. But if you are concerned about flipping the culture and making sure the culture is the priority to change, money shouldn't be something you even consider. It should be something that you just take on the chest because you feel like I'm going to do whatever it takes to make change happen. And that's just kind of my view. And I get that like people on the Daily Wire have a different opinion and stuff like that, but that's my whole opinion is that if you want to in order to make true change in today's culture, money should never be the driving factor or the reason in which you do something. That's just kind of my thought. Let me know your thoughts. Change my mind. as the man, the myth, the legend says. Smash that like button like Crowder smashed DW's nards. Yeah, those nards are so smashed. I shaved my head in record time, so naturally I'm feeling pretty mediocre. You shaved your head? It's almost like the Senate isn't dominated by communists and former vice president hasn't sworn to veto the Republican bill. It hits his desk. I know, exactly. How's everyone doing today? I'm going to end this poll just to see how we're feeling. Okay. 50%, 50-50. Yeah, I think like tomatoes. But I am kind of like the Tim Pool side, kind of like the Crowder side. In order to affect true change in today's culture, you should be willing to fork over money because you believe in something. You feel like your money can go towards affecting true change. Crowder may be noble, but he is expecting Daily Wire to adopt his business. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's two different philosophies for business. One is more, you could say, commie, and one is more free market capitalist idea. But with culture, I just don't like. It'd be like a church being like, we're going to run this church in order to make money in this business. You can't do that because it's a cultural thing. That's just my thought. I honestly think Crowder was out of line in there. I think Crowder was out of line for recording the phone call. That's basically what Crowder would be taking everything on the chin and Daily Wire takes no risk. Well, that's the thing too. I think people aren't like reading that contract too, as well as like Crowder. There's a huge difference between Daily Wire and Crowder. Crowder requires a studio. I saw Ben Shapiro today do his show in a hotel room. So like this idea that like these shows are the same, and oh my God, Steven Crowder got so much money. Crowder has employees. I think he said he had 30 employees that he pays a salary wage, and he pays apparently a good living wage, whatever that is. So there's that. Then there's legal fees, and then there's like a studio, and then there's like all kinds of. It's a bigger budget. It's just a silly comparison. But that's just my thought. Okay, and I think I'm almost done talking about it because I think there is just so much more in it going on in the world than Steven Crowder. But that's all I had to say. If you want to affect true change in today's culture, money shan't be an issue. If it's an issue thing, this is why so many on the right lose over and over again, because the left knows that. The left knows that in order to affect real change, you have to be willing to be in the net negative. And they don't care because they see being in power and changing the dynamic of the United States history and the projection of our history. They see that as more positive than making money on certain issues. And I feel like that's why the right constantly takes the L, because they're more concerned about the capitalist side of everything rather than how can we change the world and that be the driving focus. And that's why that's how it creates like, people that believe in the cause rather than like I'm doing this to make money. In order to affect real change, you got to be ready to make it rain pennies, baby. You know what I'm saying? Don't clip that, please. God. All right. Before I came live tonight, he's saying that there could be 100% loss if he isn't. Yes, I think it said it like added up. If you take out like Spotify, you take out YouTube, you take out all this kind of crap, and then all of a sudden you're in the net negative, which makes absolutely no sense, especially a guy like this. And then it's funny. I think the funniest part too was watching this online and then seeing people on Twitter and stuff like Jack Posobiec and stuff, who obviously likes the Daily Wire. People choosing their side instead of like just we're all on the same side and we're trying to go at this for. But I think it's just like some companies do things well, and then some companies you just truly believe in and you want to support because you believe in the cause. And I think that's what it kind of boils down to. Also, a side note too, I watched the Candace Owens interview on Timcast too as well with this whole thing, and she came off like such a child. And I was expecting the same from Crowder, to be honest. I thought Crowder was going to kind of go off the rails. He seemed pretty calm and relaxed for a guy that's like acting like a little bitch, like Candace says. Like, so one person acted like an insane individual while the other person seemed more calm. The other wire are a bunch of humans trying to Mancy, you're cracking me up. All right. Let's get into some news before we have some fun. Hey, Wilson, what's good, man? Happy effing Monday, dude. Happy effing Monday. Daily Wire did the right thing with YouTube. This will stop talking about YouTube. Exactly. Okay, speaking of insane, I don't know if you've seen this video. I just saw it posted up. Dan, what's up, man? On Twitch, what's good? I saw this posted. This is Ghislaine Maxwell being interviewed for Talk TV, and she comes out with a quote saying about Epstein and how he killed himself. Listen to this. This is insane.
No, he didn't. I don't believe he did. I believe that he was murdered. Well, I was shocked. And I wondered how it had happened. Because as far as I was concerned, he was going to... I was sure he was going to appeal. And I was sure that he was covered under the non-prosecution agreement.
Yeah.
but I wasn't in the indictment. So I wasn't mentioned. I wasn't even one of the co-conspirators. No, it did.
Conspiracy? Or I mean no, well, and doesn't she look so amazing? I mean, I know she's teaching a lot of like women's studies courses and women empowerment courses, which is like so in line with her history. I'm glad she's finally like making a difference in the, you know, the feminist female space, as they say. I'm so glad we have someone on their team doing good for the world. Finally. Did Epstein kill himself? Get in the chat and let me know. Candace Owens is black. She's reacted. Candace Owens, I think, might be the most overrated person in the conservative. She just yells a lot, and it's like that's why you get clicks. That's why you get attention. No offense. Sometimes she has good points. Sometimes it's like, why are you acting like this? You're welcome means you have to scream, Wilson. Thoughts on that? I felt like that video was insane. It's like, okay. Make sure you're opening up your Zima, as the Zima Brigade is in full effect tonight. According to Gene and Carino, Epstein did not press the delete key himself. Exactly. I mean, the whole Epstein cameras being off, his cellmate being a huge dude that had like backdoor stuff that maybe may not got money. It makes more sense that someone would kill him than him kill himself. She's talking about... I like a lot of her stuff, but like when she was on Tim Cass the other night talking about Crowder, I was like, okay, I'm done with you. You're calling somebody like a bitch and a child while acting like a child is very interesting. All right. Another insane video. Here is another insane video from today. The irony of this video is borderline insanity. And the funny fact is that most people on the left won't even see the irony in this video. In this video, we have Gavin Newsom talking about the Second Amendment becoming a suicide pact. But notice who he has around him as he's talking about this. All right? This is a real video.
I mean, the Second Amendment's becoming a suicide pact, it feels like. I mean, it's just, and that's the only question the community wants. How do you get, what about our kids when they're going to school? What more can we do? And, again, we look at that all the time. I mean, we did another half dozen gun safety bills last year. We'll continue to find whatever loopholes we can. We'll continue to lead the national conversation on gun safety reform. And the data bears out it works.
And the data bears out it works.
7% lower than the rest of the nation. And with all that evidence, no one on the other side seems to give a damn.
Yeah.
You can't get anything done in Congress.
Unreal. I mean, it's these right-wing conspiracy theorists like this guy on the right that's probably packing and making sure Gavin Newsom stays nice and safe. And also probably this guy in the middle as well. And then probably the guy on the other side. You know, he's got 3 security guards walking around him, potentially, probably, most likely armed, making sure he stays safe, because it's different for him, okay? He's a national public figure. His voice is more important to you. His life is more important to you. His kids' lives are more important to you. So he needs the guns to be protected from someone like you, because you're disgusting, and God knows what you'll do when you get your hands on a gun. It's like guns have a mind of their own. They're different. You know, guns, when you buy a gun, it kind of like tells you what it wants to be when it grows up. You ask the gun, like, are you going to be a murder weapon? Are you going to be, you know, a weapon that protects me from other people breaking into my home? What kind of weapon are you going to be? And the weapon gets to stop and tell you what it's going to do. It tells you, like, I'm going to act this way, and you're going to be forced to put this in your hand and do with it what you will. It's not just a tool. It has an identity. It has pronouns. Okay? These are weapons of 2023. God knows what we're... And they're specifically, these weapons have to do with ARs. Because AR means automatic rifle. Everyone knows that. Geraldo Rivera told me that on Fox News. So I believe it. And again, these people need their private jets. They need them to go to Davos. You don't. Stay in your 5-mile circle, and then you can walk. You can maybe use a buggy, but make sure you use your own power to walk around. We're gonna do a wraparound, a little wraparound. Make sure that's what happens. Mike, the guy who shot up the nightclub violated California gun laws. Oh yeah, but again, the gun did it, not the person. Let's focus on the gun. It's the guns that are committing acts of violence, not people. Everyone knows that. People don't have a choice. When you purchase a firearm, the firearm makes the choices for you. Adam Carolla did an interview with Gavin, and Adam says there's something wrong with... There's something... I mean... Gavin Newsom looks like the most evil villain from every 90s rom-com to action film there ever knows. Ever knew. What? I don't know what that meant. How is the Second Amendment a suicide pact? I swear to God, this guy doesn't even know what the evil words means. I think he's just trying to say that it's a suicide pact for the world. It's like if you allow people, everyday people, to just purchase firearms, therefore it's a suicide pact for the average citizen. Again, it goes back to the idea and the theory that guns can do whatever they want. The guy who shot up, my gun wants to manage a Waffle House outside of Little Rock so it can be near his high school sweetheart. Well, let your gun do that then. Stop. Love is love. Love is love, Papa. And if you don't allow your gun to just fornicate with other guns, then I'm not assuming that your gun wants to be with another gun. I'm just saying, these are things we need to start thinking about. Don't be so close-minded. All right? Well, all guns are born to be murderers, but some just sit around and collect us. And yeah, and that's the problem. And the ones that collect us are probably wanting to do the same. My wife and I are seriously considering moving to Wyoming. Colorado is turning into California. Even our rural western slope country, Democrats just love infringing on the rights you have. Well, because by giving them more power, you will be safer. And that's what matters most in life, is to feel as safe as possible rather than, feeling as free as possible. You don't want to feel freedom. Freedom is scary. You don't want that. Give that power to me. I will take care of you. I will make your life better. Just send me money. That's how it works. Keep voting for me. I will give you free stuff. I will make you poor. I'll stay rich. Don't worry about my lifestyle. Don't worry about, my security guards around me. Just make sure, oops. Well, that makes more sense. Just make sure you are, keep voting me in. I want to move to Idaho, but I can't afford potatoes. And that's a problem. If you were Irish like me, you would just have potatoes coming out your butt. Are you a communist, Derek? No, I'm not a communist. I just, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. I want to make your life better. I want to help you. Let me take the burden of your finances, your freedom off your plate. You don't need that. You don't want that. You want to just... You want to go to your job, we'll give you minimum wage, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, whatever we advocate for, and you'll work that job, you'll come home, you'll get high, and then you'll watch your TikToks, make sure you scroll over and over and over again, and then in the morning you'll go to therapy because you're full of anxiety all day, and we'll give you a budget that you can eat. Actually, we'll send the groceries to your home. You don't even have to leave. We'll send the bugs to your home. You can have as much bugs as you want because they're plentiful. They're everywhere. So it's going to be amazing. Will you tuck me in at night and read me a bedtime story? Yes, of course I'll do that. I will do that as I put the gun to your head, and everything's going to be better. In the end, you pretend like you didn't hear what I just said. I'm going to give you freedom. I can't with these people, man. I can't. The Second Amendment has become a suicide pact as he has armed security walking around him. It's just it's so stupid that people buy into this ideology and they can't notice the irony. I know people on the right can't notice a lot of irony and a lot of stuff, and they get triggered by a lot of stuff, but it's so in your face for the left, it's not even funny. Those are the scariest words anyone can say. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Exactly. No, you don't want that. You don't want that. The robots will feed you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't worry about your food. Don't even worry about cooking your own meal. Just open your mouth. and a government robot will be there to feed you when you're not necessarily when you're hungry, when we deem necessary for you to eat. You're going to be fasting every other day, and that's going to be good for you. It's for your health. Don't worry about that. You put a gun to my head. It sounds like my childhood. I never said that, Papa, so I don't know why you put that in my chat. It's really triggering for me, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of financial slave and felon, I don't know if you've caught on to this new pistol/long gun debate with the ATF. I don't know if you have I don't know if you have a short barrel pistol. You have a pistol, but the ATF is going to make you send it in for stamps, and I don't know what's going to happen with all that stuff. I'd like a glass of warm milk at bedtime after you tuck us in. Okay. Do you want Ovaltine or do you want milk? Which one? Which one sounds better, huh? I only want help from the Department of Redundancy. Department of Redundancy Department? Is that the Department of Redundancy? Department of Redundancy? Department? Redundancy? I love that department. God, I'm doing laundry right now, and like the laundry is shaking my floors. And so if you see me like, it's not that I'm vibrating because my vibrations are in line. It's that my laundry is going up. Short barrel rifle. Yeah, exactly. So be sure to be, fun fact, triggers trigger guns. I didn't know that. See, you learn something new every day. Speaking of learn something new, I don't know if you guys saw this as well. The White House says North Korea is arming Russia in Ukraine. At a press briefing on Friday, White House National Security Council's NSC Communications Director John Kirby accused North Korea of supplying ammunitions to invading Russian forces in Ukraine. Nothing says I'm doing well in a war like, hey, North Korea, do you mind handing us some of your up-to-date incredible weaponry like ammunitions? We're running low. We're gonna hit up one of the most devastated, poorest countries in the world. Do you have any guns that we can have, or any nuclear weapons by any chance? Kirby claimed that the munitions were passed to Russia's infamous Wagner Group, which is great. I wonder if that Wagner Group is connected to, the Merchant of Death that we traded Brittany Griner for, which was honestly top 10 greatest trades of all time for Russia. A close ally of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. Kirby estimated that the Wagner Group has about 50,000 personnel in Ukraine at present. The majority of the prison convicts recruited by Wagner is, it's like a movie. It's like the Suicide Squad going out and invading Ukraine. Wagner is becoming a rival power center of Russian military and the Russian ministries, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, thank God, North Korea, they can't even feed their own army. Exactly. India, Iran, China all gave weapons to Russia. Iran right there in the open with drones. Well, I can understand China and Iran and India, but North Korea? Tell me you're desperate without telling me you're desperate. Wagner, isn't that the band that did the 80s song 17? I hope so. But that's when you know you're desperate. What did I miss? One of them. I lost my SBR in a boating accident. Fused back. Yeah, exactly. Well, it was funny because I was actually looking at purchasing one of those short barrel rifles, and I haven't gotten to the point of doing it yet, and I just was messing around checking to see which ones were which and what the best deals and stuff. And then I saw that being passed down. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll wait this one out. I have a medium barrel, fully semi-automatic assault slingshot. Do I need to submit that yet? Yes. Please submit that. But always remember, at the end of the day, their idea is that you won't have any firearms. Just like Gavin Newsom says. At least he has the balls to say that. I don't buy it. They're the same guys who said that Trump was selling nuclear secrets to Russia. Yes. Not to mention India and China are all buying most of Russian oil. Yeah, exactly. Well, and why wouldn't they? Look. Oh my god. My dryer is making it shake so hard. That's what she said. Ruby Ridge was because of the short barrel rifle. Yes. North Korea is the kid. God. North Korea is the kid on the school project that does no work and gets the same grade as you. Oh my god, that's so spot on. Oh, I hated those kids. That was me, though. You know, the funny kid. Okay, tell me if you guys are for this. Okay. It is shaking so hard. Does your camera on the top of your washing machine? It certainly seems like it. It's just the floor. It's like shaking my desk. Please stop. Dear God, if you don't stop, I'm gonna lose it. Okay, it's starting to slow down. And why would Russia need to borrow weapons from North Korea? Russia has a massive reserve of gold right now. Well, you know, apparently during war, you know how it is. What's truth and what's not truth. Speaking of war, there's a huge bill right now being passed in Texas, which, let me know your thoughts on this. I'm a firm supporter in this. Texas bill to ban Chinese and Russians from purchasing land gains. Are you guys for this kind of thing? Do you think it's okay that countries outside the United States, people that aren't necessarily our friends, can purchase things like land, like farmland, or, you know, land right across the street from an intelligence center in America? I do not think that's okay. I know we're like free market. That's like the not libertarian side of my mind. I'm not for this. Governor Abbott is the latest supporter of the Texas Senate bill that would ban citizens from China, Russia, North Korea, LOL, like they have this kind of money, Iran, from purchasing land in the state. The bill was proposed by the Senator Louise Kolkhorst in November, aims to stem foreign influencers in Texas. I think this should be everywhere. It's really hard for a lot of young American people like myself that maybe one day want to start a farm. It's very, very expensive. You would think there would be encouragement for more farmers to, you know, come out, but no, it's all subsidized. I'm for it. They should add a line that denies Bill Gates from buying more land. God, I wish that was... Yeah, that too. Bill Gates, BlackRock, and stuff like this. They're making it more harder and harder and harder for people like myself that want to purchase a home to purchase one by buying it up and then flipping it to make a profit. And I know there's like a part of me that like wants to support that kind of crap, but it's different when these people screw up on their financial decisions. The government backs them and bails them out. They don't do that for people like you and me. So again, it's not a free market thing when the government bails out people like BlackRock when they screw up, and when the housing market finally crashes, they will do the same thing. The government will provide you land to homestead. China has the most gold. Okay. But who is for this? I'm for this. And maybe it's just my own bias right now that wants to own a bunch of land soon, and I just feel like it's so expensive. And also, I've been looking at land to purchase for a long time. A lot of the land that I find online is owned by Chinese realtors, and that the websites are all are obviously owned by the Chinese, because it just looks like every Chinese website when you purchase, you know, cheaply made stuff from. Like, it just has that look. And then the realtor is all in Chinese. And so you don't want your enemies making your average citizens poor, but that's what's happening. China has the most gold in the world. They produce and bought the most gold than ever United States. Yet they report a small amount in the second central bank because gold inside of the trading company. Well, there you go. The government provides you land to homestead. Yeah, exactly. The rumor is that China and Russia are going to introduce a gold-backed currency to replace the petrodollar. We'll see. I thought Russia already did that. It's just, once you do that, it just takes a while. I mean, it went down and now it's going back up. But speaking of Chinese, what the heck is going on in California right now? Another suspect accused of a fatal shooting of 7 Chinese farm workers. This is the second one in 2 days. In the San Francisco Bay Area, arrested less than 48 hours after Monterey Park shooting. This guy killed 7 people on a Chinese farm. Again, it's white supremacy that's a huge issue. If these white supremacists like this guy would stop going around shooting people, America would be safer. Everyone knows that. But this is what the frick is 7 Chinese farm workers have been shot and killed in San Francisco Bay Area by 6. I'm not going to say his name. The shootings took place 2 separate locations in Half Moon Bay, with 4 shot in the farm. Blah blah blah. It's almost like a copycat killer. It's weird that it's happened in 2 days. Sleeper cells. That's what I like. That's the conspiracy theorist in me was like, okay, is this like a Chinese thing and we're going to see these every day now? But it's weird that they were shooting at Chinese farm workers. I'm surprised there are not more of these Chinese spies in the Communist Party of China taking them out. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Thank Christ I don't live in a Bay Area anymore. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, you don't want to live there anyways, even without these kind of murders. But will we continue to see these? I mean, did you see all the Democrat senators and politicians like Schiff and stuff like that come out with the murders yesterday with Monterey Bay, and they were talking about white supremacy because if it fits the bill. But stuff like this will just slowly go away because I don't know, it's not a white person, so people are we don't care. The Bay Area was always a total. It just got worse. Exactly. People in California don't want to live near these farms. Don't want to live near these farms. Yeah. But like Gavin Newsom says, Second Amendment is a suicide pact. Shootings happen in the Bay Area all the time. They only talk about it when there's more than 5 bodies. But they don't do that for Chicago shootings. When there's more than 5 people that shot, every weekend there's 20 plus people shot, and people are just like, nah. And then every time I bring that up too, when it comes to leftists, when it comes to people in Chicago, and I bring that up, they're like, oh yeah, here's a whataboutism. It's the right is so obsessed with Chicago. It's because it's such an obvious point. That's why people say things. When it's an obvious point, when you have a speck when you have a log in your eye, I'm going to mention it. There was a shooting in my own neighborhood about a week ago when I moved back to Michigan. Dang. Because you don't care about who. Yeah, exactly. But thank God Gavin Newsom was there. I wonder if Gavin Newsom's there with his security guards. It's interesting, all these gun bills are starting to get passed during this. I'm not saying it's I just think it's people are very high strung and on anxiety right now. And I think you're going to see some more of this stuff. I mean, with Antifa right now in Atlanta, I mean, have you been watching everything that's going on in Atlanta right now with the media calling it mostly peaceful? Let's watch this report before I get into it. And none other than Andy No, who's Mr. Antifa man himself. Check this video out.
Independent journalist Andy No joins us now. He is the author of Unmasked, and it's good to have you on tonight. As far as what we're seeing in Atlanta, nothing.
California ranks number 1 in gun regulations. Yeah, same with Chicago. It's who cares? They know that the laws that they put forth aren't going to stop this, but they know it'll be one step closer to banning all firearms from you owning them.
From Merrick Garland. From over the weekend, even though the bulk of these rioters are from other states, which to me makes it seem like it would be a federal problem, right? Okay,
so apparently, I don't know if you guys know what's going on in Atlanta, but in Atlanta, there was there was a piece of land a bunch of people on Antifa were taking over, and I guess the cops were going to build out a new training facility there, and so And then all these Antifa members were like firebombing houses that were being built around there, and they were stopping the cops from like building out and stuff like that. The cops were called because neighbors and stuff like that, because they were destroying property. The cops came and checked it out. One of the Antifa members actually shot at a cop, put him in the hospital. The cops fired back and killed an Antifa member. Then Antifa decided that they were going to protest, mostly peaceful, around Atlanta, destroying property, doing everything that they normally do. And now media sources were going around calling it mostly peaceful, of course, as cop cars were burning in the background, etc. Which is like, we're doing this again. And my question was like, is this going to be another crazy summer? Are we gearing up for another summer like this again? Or is this going to be squashed and smashed because of what's happening? And again, a lot of these kids that were caught, Antifa members, crossed state lines. They brought firearms across state lines, like Kyle Rittenhouse did, even though he didn't. And a lot of these kids are coming from very wealthy homes. Like, here's a Daily Mail article. Spoiled children trying to set fire in Atlanta. Maine millionaire sons awards winning clarinetist trans non-binary activists in the middle of class vegan Damascus riots. But it's always looks like Destiny from Twitch. I don't know if you've ever seen his stuff, but like, here's some of the mostly peaceful pictures of what's happening. But I'll let Andy know to kind of take it over, because it was mostly peaceful violence. They're stopping the violence. These people are terrorists. That's literally what they are. They're not rioting. They're not protesting. Their entire their ideology is to terrorize spaces and make demands. And if you don't follow the demands, they will hurt you. What do you call that? It's funny that they call January 6th like terrorism, an insurrection. They're so quick with that. But with this, they're like, mostly peaceful. And you even seen it on the right too. Heard a cop was shot from friendly fires. So until the body cam is released, it's hard to say who shot. Well, that's why I don't really know. That's why I haven't really talked about this that much, because I'm still waiting for all those facts to be put forth. I just know that I've seen a lot of media sources pretend like this is not a big deal. And then a lot of people on the right are not even reporting on it, because I don't really understand what's going on, because there's a lot of hearsay. Are we gearing up for another summer of love? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. All right, here we go.
Independent journalist Andy Ngo joins us now. He is the author of Unmasked, and it's good to have you on tonight. As far as what we're seeing in Atlanta, nothing from Merrick Garland from over the weekend, even though the bulk of these rioters are from other states, which to me makes it seem like it would be a federal problem, right?
Well, it is, clearly. We've had now for a year and a half violent extremists from the far left all over across the United States heeding the call to join essentially what is a mini caliphate southeast of Atlanta in this wooded area. And they've been escalating in the last year, their violence, and it escalated to the point where it became deadly last week during a police raid. Mm-hmm. One of the militants, as you mentioned, attempted to kill a Georgia State Patrol trooper, shot him, and died in the course of returning fire. The response from the radical left from across the United States has been to call this gunman a martyr, to praise his actions, and to call for retributive violence, which they ended up carrying out over the weekend in Atlanta, also in Lansing, Michigan, and also in Boston, and as well as Portland. So this is a big problem, as I've been banging on about now for several years. I think some people thought that because we didn't have a summer of riots in 2021 and 2022, that things are just back to normal. They're not. The networks and organizational tactics that were developed in 2020 are still there and always improving.
and just wait until we have another presidential election, and there's a reason for them to be louder and more dangerous. You wonder what, I mean, we saw what 2020 was like. I can't imagine 2024 would be much different. How dangerous do you think to have a Democrat-run government as we have right now, which marginalizes?
This is what happens when spoiled children are allowed to get away with anything without consequences. Yes. That, and they don't have jobs. Obviously, none of these kids have jobs. Their parents are probably just like paying for them and their what is it called? A gap year. Like this is what happens when you don't have purpose. And then your purpose becomes destruction. This is why I'm like, these people don't care about like money because they've never had to work a day in their life. Anarchist. Like if it was true anarchism in America, I'd be for it. Like if everyone was on equal footing, then people like that would probably get smashed out. It rolls right off the tongue. Duke Pakpa. I prefer my current title as comptroller. Yes, and I will be the king jester. I will prefer him.
Left-wing political violence, and also at the same time over-exaggerates the threat of right-wing violence.
There it is. Killer T-cell. There it is. Marxism fed by fascism. That is 100% what it is. These people are fascists. They pretend like they're anti. It's like an oxymoron. It's like, they tell you exactly who they are by denouncing who they aren't. It's just so silly.
Well, the issue is then that, violent extremism should not be politicized, period,
sure,
by either side. And because all the institutions, from nonprofits to civil society to governments, have focused on right-wing extremism, they've not only neglected the violence from the far left, they've actually intentionally denied it and tried to gaslight the public about this. And you can see the media is probably at the forefront of really doing what I call propaganda by, you can have things
calling on protests and riots when they're not.
Of militants destroying property and maiming people, and that being described as a mostly peaceful protest. It's gaslighting and it's propaganda. What I'm concerned about is that the public are not going to be better informed about what's happening in Atlanta. I mean, it's really serious. We have 19 people now, through multiple raids and arrests and riots and attacks, being charged with domestic terrorism and other really serious felonies. So even if the federal...
So these people are charged with domestic terrorism, and yet so many people in the media still can't call them terrorists because they're afraid to do it. So you control the speech, you control the world. I never thought I would had much purpose, but at least I never felt like I needed to destroy private property and hurt people in the name of baseless cops. Well, yeah. Your purpose might be coming on my show and annoying the shit out of me. That could be your purpose. I'm just kidding. The government was able to successfully gaslight the American people during the summer of 2020. Yeah. Dude, that summer was insane. That summer, that summer made me want to go harder on this start this podcast. Major cities were burnt down and torn apart for the entire summer, and yet people still voted for the party to support it. Of course they did. It's just like the same people that like Joe Biden put behind bars went in turn, turned around and voted for him again. The crime bills that he put forth, it was just like, oh yeah, he's a good guy on the inside. Fascism, socialism, communism are all in the same feathers, same bird. Fascism, socialism, and when the government has the guns, the communists, exactly, 100%. Well, it's easy to annoy you, Derek. It's science fact with those thin skin and fact changers. You know it, man. I'm easily triggered by everything these days. Don't say that.
The federal government is not taking it seriously. Even if Oregon or California is not, Georgia apparently.
January 6th was fudging boring. Why did YouTube censor that? God, they're the worst.
It is.
Yeah.
Will we have another summer of love? I guess is the question. And will it be with people like, I mean, look at this is the camp that they put up in Atlanta. F the police, man. It's seriously children. let's go out in the woods and let's build a cap. That'd be sick, right? Oh my god, kill cops. Oh, come on. No cop city. My favorite is like watching him get arrested. You censored it?
So you can hide it? So you can hide it? Make it quick so you can hide it? We all got it on video.
I always smoke out of apples. Dude, I haven't done that since like high school. All right. I was triggered by Anna the other night when she refused to call me by my preferred objective, pure blood. Yeah, me too. The pure blood thing. She was so triggered by that. All right, let's get into some silly press conference stuff. Summer of love is coming and is what the Dems want. Probably, you know, because why wouldn't they? If their true objective is to, you know, ban you from owning semi-automatic firearms, the easiest way to do that is to make you fear for your life and want the government to take charge, because you don't want these anarchists running around with firearms because, you know, you're following the law and they're not. People are very quick to give up their freedoms when fear is on the line. Nobody's willing to refer to me as Night Ranger. Dude, whatever, Night Ranger. I'll call you Night Ranger all I want. You can yell at me all you want. Adam Scott admitted that. Yes. I saw that last night. I started to play that and I was kind of bored. I'm just like, duh. Duh, we're right. And again, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I took my tetanus shot 2 years ago. That doesn't make me anti-vax. I live in Seattle. Always calm here. Good. It's Motrin. Got to change your handle to Night Ranger. Yeah, you do. Yeah, change your handle to Night Ranger, Papa. Freaking Night Ranger. All right, let's check out some of these clips from today. This clip is about us giving away our strategic petroleum reserve for gas. Notice how gas prices are going up right now. No one could have predicted that.
The House has passed bipartisan legislation that would ban the export of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to Chinese companies. Given that oil has flowed to China from that reserve during both this administration and the previous one, is that the type of reform that the president would potentially support?
So look, I think this is a little bit of what the Secretary was talking about just moments ago. This bill addresses a non-issue. We're very clear on that. We're focused on advancing legislation that would lower costs for American families, not...
Bop that chick, so liar. People from the deep way, you're hilarious.
Raise them. So I'm just going to leave it there.
The House
would lower costs for American families. We're talking about just moments ago. This bill addresses a non-issue. We're very clear on that.
Oh, so selling our strategic petroleum reserve to China is a non-issue. It's a non-issue. What's your problem? Why do you care about that? I know it's like made for wartime scenarios and for, you know, when gas becomes so expensive and he's trying to artificially lower the gas prices. But when we sell it to China, it's different. It's just so stupid, the logic that comes out of these people's mouths. And it's also just crazy that in the same light they pretend like they care about who you are. My bad. Love, live. What's up? I watched liberal hive mind video from Emmanuel about how some gas deal with Joe Biden's name on it, and it puts some son's business deal. Ooh. Good evening, love, or treason. Yeah, well, treason is such a fun word, isn't it? Because I agree with you. I mean, I don't think it's the same thing. The same people that like allow, you know, Chinese governments and stuff to purchase our land and take away from it's all about money. You know, follow the money. You know, like Jesus. This thing is like Jesus says. Tell me where your wallet is. I'll show me wherever you spend your money is where your heart is. You know what I mean? So follow the money for politicians. They'll tell you exactly what they actually care about. And another thing, it was so funny. Like I did that video on Ukraine and Lindsey Graham, and people were just like calling me like a Putin puppet and stuff. I'm like, you're just all useful idiots. So many people out there are just useful idiots. She breaks eye contact when she lies, and she forces her hand gestures. Oh, 100%. Yeah, when she looks down and starts blinking her eyes and starts going, that you're lying. Me not paying my property tax is a non-issue also. Exactly. But they keep disagreeing with me. Exactly. Hey, it's a non-issue. Hey, I'm just going to start saying that. When people start like getting mad at me for things, I'm going to say, hey, it's a non-issue. Like, just get over it. It's a non-issue. And they're like, well, it's an issue for me. Like, well, it's not. It's a non-issue for me. So just deal with that. Deal with it. That's what Kareem Jabrin Abdul-Jabbar told me. So I'm going to do that. Does Putin have big hands? I don't know. If he has big hands and big feet, you know what that means. He's a genius. Putin puppet, that sounds more like a marionette that makes dookie. Oh my God. You Putin puppet? Yeah, that's me. Honestly, Putin pays my salary. Like, I get, like, he is my biggest contributor on my channel. Some people call him Willie. Some people call him Putin. I don't know. You do the math. But if you're a Putin puppet, we're Putin puppeteers. Yeah, that's exactly what you are, Papa. You thought your name was like Night Ranger or whatever. It's Putin puppeteers. Good evening, Putin puppeteers. If everyone could just get in the chat and tell me how they're doing in Russian, because I know that's your native language. Remember when a revolution happened over a 2% T-tax? So proud of how far we've come. Oh my God, that honestly, freedom ain't free. Listen, that is like the most depressing thing ever about how weak and like, even for myself, just willing to put up with so much crap. I mean, I even saw it for myself. I was just like, during COVID, my first, like, when I heard 2 weeks of slow spread, I was like, this is stupid, but like, okay, like, I guess, it's Trump, so I trust him. Like, it's just like, I don't, like, there was a part of me that was, after the 2 weeks, was like, what an idiot. Why did I ever think this was a good idea? As I saw people not being allowed to go to church and stuff like that, I know everyone was afraid because that's what fear does. If that's not a perfect example of how the government uses fear in order to take away your freedoms, I don't know what is. Like, if we haven't learned our lesson in the past 2 years, then we'll never learn a lesson, because it was the most blatantly obvious attempt to take away every single freedom in order for a little bit of security. Hey, a little bit of security. Don't worry, the government's here to help. Well, if you're a Putin puppet, you would know if he had big hands. I do know he has big hands. I've felt him grasp my bosom. Bob, she's so lying. She is lying. The Fed gets a straw account for every SSN. That's comptroller Putin puppeteer. The next few years will be a hoot too. Yeah, it really will be. All right, here we go. Next. Okay, now I just lined up Peter Ducey, because why do I care about any other reporter in that room? All right, here we go.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI agents search their sock drawer?
Say that one more time. Say that beginning part.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI
It sounds like
agents?
It sounds like you already know that the answer to that question. Look, here's what
I don't know the answer to that question. An FBI search of a president's residence is a big deal.
Here's what the president's going to focus on. He's going to focus on continuing to deliver for the American people. That's his focus. That's what he focuses on every day. That's what he's been focusing on the last 2 years.
Yes.
And
Amen.
Nothing is going to
Amen.
change that.
Yes.
You think about the bipartisan infrastructure legislation.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Those, the bipartisan one, the last two that I mentioned, done in a bipartisan way.
Yes.
That's what the president wants to do.
Yes.
He wants to continue to deliver on his economic plan that is going to build the economy from the bottom up.
Willie in court super chatted $2. Don't be afraid of anything but fire.
Willie, thank you so much, my dude. I won't be. But fire? As long as I'm spitting hot fire. I spit hot fire. Thank you so much, Willie. You're the man. As I say, I'm a Willie puppeteer. Freaking, she's the worst. I like that. Is it a precedent for FBI searching presidents' homes? Yeah. FBI is checking out Biden's sock drawer in a total non-issue. Yeah, exactly. Biden, letting his documents free is a total non-issue. 2023 is such a beauty. It really is. Trump 2024, hell yeah. Willie, thank you so much, man. It means a lot to me that you support this channel like that. Okay. All right. Here we go with another doozy question. Is the president involved in a cover-up?
The House Oversight Committee chairman says this document situation has all the makings of a potential cover-up. Is President Biden involved in a cover-up?
We have been very clear here from this administration. The president has been very clear that he takes this very seriously when it comes to classified information, when it comes to classified documents, and that his team has been fully cooperative with this legal matter. Anything else, Peter? And I'm going to be very serious. You asked me kind of a question that everybody laughed at, which was interesting question to ask. But any other underlying questions that you may have, I would refer you to my colleagues, the White House counsel. I'm going to continue to be prudent. I'm going to continue to be consistent and refer you to any questions you have there.
She's the worst. God. Look, I've been clear. I've been absolutely clear, and so you need to stop asking me this question because I'm being clear. Okay? And I thought it was interesting that people were laughing at that. It's not funny. I'm not laughing. Are you laughing? If you're laughing, it's because you're a child. It's different. We only like it when we go after Trump. It's different. This is Biden. He's being serious. He's being honest. He's telling the truth. He told the truth after he was busted, after the election was already done. They are not trying to cover up anything, so he's not in a mission in a cover up. Exactly. She thinks she's a good liar. Yeah, she's the worst. She's just a Greta Thunberg. Don't talk about my baby boo like that. All right. Greta is beautiful and brave. Mark my words. The loneliest podium in the world, getting paid to BS when everyone knows you're BSing. Honestly, again, whoever's the next president, holler at your boy. I will at least laugh my way through BSing so people know I'm BSing. It's more fun that way. Let's have fun. These press conferences should be the most fun thing daily. If I was press secretary, I would be making a mockery out of everything that's going on because who cares? Who cares? No one cares about Karine Jareen Abdul-Jabbar, what she says. No one cares. Just say whatever you want. You could literally just lie. You could just have fun. You can walk in there with jorts on. No one cares. No one cares. Queen, what's up? How's it going, Queen? She's totally bald. Yeah, me too. This is just... I don't have hair underneath it. That's why I wear a hat. That's what every person on the left tries to comment me on YouTube. They're just like, "Oh my God, see your receipt here." Okay, here we go. Okay, and she was asked a question about the documents over and over again. It just doesn't get any better. I wish I could be press secretary. If anybody asked me my question, my answer would be, "Dude, seriously? Come on, dude. Okay? Yeah, dude, seriously? Come on." Okay, next question. Okay, seriously? That's your question? You had one question and that's all you could come up with? Okay. You're done. You're done. Hey, Derek, Gitsy? I don't know what Gitsy means. God. Am I a boomer? What does GTSI mean? Great. Get to sexy here. Dan Bros nasty thoughts. Joe Rogan 2028. or what was this all for? That's a good question. I will reward good questions with juice boxes. Oh yeah. And here's a Lunchable. And here's a lunch. Okay, based on that question, you get 1 Capri Sun. All right, here's another question. Let's see how triggered she gets of this one.
Said though. Another question on the documents. You have said though.
Good to see you. I am a boomer. See, I apologize. This whole time, I thought it was something else. You young kids and your acronyms. I'll never understand this generation.
Another question on the documents. You have said, though, from this podium many, many times over the last 2 weeks that this president takes the handling of classified material very seriously. And yet you continue to learn about more documents being found and discovered at his home, including now some that go back decades to his time in the Senate. So why should the American people believe that this president takes classified material seriously and the handling of it?
Look, the American people heard from the president directly on this when he was asked by your colleagues at least twice now about how he sees this process.
Right.
And he was very clear.
Clear.
The response of what we're currently seeing. And he says, I take this very seriously. He
Right.
said, I didn't know that the documents were there.
He had no idea. Okay, so shut up and we're moving on. God.
And look, I think as it relates to the American people and the president standing with the American people,
Right.
It is going to be up to them to decide how they see this president. Look, this is a president that came into office. 9 million people had lost their jobs.
Why? And why was that? Why did people lose their jobs? No reason. It was because of Trump's policies that made us lose our jobs. COVID.
The unemployment rate was 6.3%, and hundreds of thousands of small businesses.
Queen, you're younger than I am. I told you I'm 65 years old. I look good for my age. Get over it. God, I have great skin. I put Vaseline on my face every night before I go to bed. Everyone knows that.
Had closed their doors. And in the
She is a car
past 2 years,
salesman.
we've created nearly 11 million jobs. The unemployment rate is at a record low at 50-year record low. In the last 2 years were the best years for small businesses applications on record. We talked about that last.
Exactly. Record low unemployment. I have 2 jobs. Think of what that does for the unemployment numbers. It looks good on paper.
Week, just from here. The president has built the most significant legislative record since LBJ.
Derek, we all know that the Vaseline is going. You're right. It goes on my elbows. I got them ashy elbows, boy. She used to sell life insurance. I would buy from her. Dude, she does. I'm buying some Vaseline tomorrow. Hey, just buy the Vaseline I buy. I buy it with cocoa butter. Because everyone knows cocoa butter is a secret.
Hey, let's not forget, there's a CHIPS and Science Act, the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. I just walked through what he's going to see next week when he's traveling to Baltimore and also New York City. The Inflation Reduction Act, which is going to deal with lowering costs. So the president...
Yes, Inflation Reduction Act is specifically to lower costs. I can't even get through that sentence without knowing it's a lie. It's like, how do these people sleep at night? On a MyPillow. What documents are in his library at the University of Delaware? You mean where he was a professor? Did you know he was a professor there and UPenn? Probably Ohio State and Harvard.
Has been in office for the last 2 years focusing on the American people.
I love that. Part of me wishes Biden would stop focusing on the American people. Hello. You thought we were done talking about documents, didn't you? But let's... I know you think we're done talking about documents, but we're not done. We need to go to our most brightest and smartest of the day. Tell us what to think.
What I am struggling with is not necessarily the levels of classification. I'm not necessarily struggling with the fact that I do think he's been a little bit unapologetic, a little bit perhaps cavalier in his response because he realizes that Trump was flushing stuff down the toilet and we were talking about 300 versus maybe 15. And intent is really important. So I don't think you can
Oh, intense important.
compare at all the criminal liability between the two. But I do have a problem.
Trump didn't say it was an accident. God, what an idiot. He would be let off if he just said that.
Problem with the process. Why is it that the process is either not ironclad or they don't know it or they don't understand it? We've both worked for the government. I could never take something out of a grand jury secret area and take it home without either getting fired or getting someone killed. And I know you've had the same experience. And so, and I was a low-level U.S. attorney. I like to think I was somebody, but I was just what they call a line assistant and a supervisor. So my question is, Biden, Trump, everybody now, Vice President Harris becomes a suspect. Well, what do you have at your house?
Am I the only one that was like, okay, spot on, but also like, you're a U.S. attorney? What? What? I love hearing people who have never had a military security clearance talk about how it's not a big deal. I know, me too. Even those that don't have a security military clearance that have like, you know, common sense or whatever. like this idea that you could just... people that work in medical facilities, you can't do the same thing. Like if you walk home with like written names of individuals, you will lose your license. You will be banned. You will be fired. And then this is like seen as like, well, the intent was like, it was like an accident. It's like, sorry, accident here. Like, he's been caught. He's been caught. Flushing Trump story night. Right. Except toilet was not flushed. Like, what the frick? He's flushing the toilet, putting his files down the toilet. I've seen it. These women know nothing about guns, but but that doesn't stop them from lecturing and shooting knives. And well, what a fun show to be a part of. You just like talk out of your butt all day and you're not held accountable for anything. You're just like known for saying idiotic things. And people are just like, I love it. I love it. Keep it going. Keep the party going. All right. All right, what do I want to watch next? Okay. One of my least favorite people in the whole world is our energy secretary. Okay. Sorry. Let me read your chats. Toilet gate. Yes, exactly. Okay. Here we go. My least favorite person in the world is this energy secretary. Listen to what she has to say.
He will not allow the American people to suffer because of the backwards agenda that House Republicans are advancing.
Sick. Biden has done everything he could to lower gas prices, and it's these daggum Republican, green energy Republicans that are trying to take it away from you. Worst secretary of anything ever. Exactly. She's the worst. I just can't even... I think it's just like this quote right here that like really gets the people going, which I started the show off with this right here.
The president spent the last 2 years, as you know, doing everything he could to lower gas prices for American families.
And that was a lie. God, what the frick, dude?
And prices are down about $1.60 a gallon since last summer. Now, House Republicans are using their narrow majority to force the American people to pay higher gas prices, just as big oil companies are amassing record profits. The president...
One says corporations are making a bunch of money. The other one says it's, politicians making it worse. This is why we lose in the end always. I went back to make an omelet this morning, then remembered 2023 such luxuries are gone. I had no idea you had that kind of money, Wilson. Everyone go rob Wilson. He's rich. He made an omelet this morning. Give us your address in the chat so we know where to find you. Fun fact, the waters of Great Lakes are caused by Jennifer Granholm's skin to burn like a vampire. Fact checkers have checked and they have concluded that is mostly false. All right. Here we go with the, okay. This video right here from Garland is insane. And he's talking about, you know, if you look at the FBI and their actions, you would probably conclude that maybe the people with lots of power, people with lots of money, get away with whatever they want. But you don't. And he's here to dispute that.
They ensure that we adhere to the rule of law. These mean, among other things, that we do not have different rules for Democrats or Republicans, different rules for the powerful or the powerless, different rules for the rich or for the poor. We apply the facts and the law in each case in a neutral, nonpartisan manner. That is what we always do, and that is what we do in the matters that you're referring to.
And we have concluded that that was a lie. God. I made 26 grand this year and mostly likely owe, which looks like I'm rich too. You are rich. Yo, mamas. Hey, you're at my mom's house? Tell her I said hello. A friend of mine who works in the oil field said that they haven't slowed down. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe either. You know? Look at his hands tightened and clenched. Yeah, that's probably a good shout out.
Ensure that we adhere to the rule of law. These mean, among other things, that we do not have different rules for Democrats or Republicans, different rules for the powerful or the powerless, different rules for the rich or for the poor. We apply the facts.
See how she looks down when he says that?
And the law in each case in a neutral, nonpartisan manner. That is what we always do, and that is what we do in the matters that you're referring to.
Oh, that was the creepiest. Okay. Watch them turn together. That was like one of the creepiest turns I've ever seen.
In the matters that you're referring to.
That was like watching robots.
Matters that you're referring to.
Oh, that's so uncomfortable. One more time.
Matters that you're referring to.
Okay, one more time. That's so creepy.
Matters that you're referring to. Matters that you're referring to.
God, it's so creepy. Oh, it's so creepy. Gross. All I'm hearing is thou protest too much. Yeah, exactly. Thou hast protest too much. Hands tighten, yeah. I'm there with you, Papa. Say the poverty level, we shouldn't be paying taxes. No, you shouldn't be. You know, if you don't make over like $200,000, I don't know. You shouldn't. I don't know. Whatever. Those are some guilty looking people. Serious yikes fact. Yes. But of course, you know, it's funny how people are just like, oh, okay, yeah, totally. Okay. Let's get some good. Okay, now I'm here for the clips. I'm going to finish this night with the clips from this video of our favorite Young Turks about DeSanctimonious. DeSantis, I hate gay people so much, I won't let Florida students learn about racism. That's their video title. God, I'm so jealous of that. Only 60% roughly of the nation pays income taxes each year. Yeah, 100%. A lot of people get rebates if you're underneath. Papa, if you seriously make $26,000, you're going to get like a nice rebate payment. Those are guilty looking people. Also, people have good CPAs, you know? And a lot of people, instead of paying taxes, pay for things with business expenses, like a nice car, or I had to get that apartment complex for my business, or I had to, you know, the tax laws are easy to get around if you have a good lawyer. I figured it would have been higher. I figured it would be higher too. Okay. I'm here for the laughs. I hope you are too. Because Cenk Uygur is back and he makes me giggle like a silly schoolgirl.
The state of Florida, our education standards not only don't prevent, but they require teaching Black history, all the important things. That's part of our core curriculum. This was a separate course on top of that for advanced placement credit. And the issue is we have guidelines and standards in Florida. We want education, not indoctrination. If you fall on the side of indoctrination, we're going to decline. If it's education, then we will do.
Yeah, that was Governor Ron DeSantis down there in Florida, and him and his fellow snowflake conservatives are terrified that kids might learn the truth about the United States and its history, such that they have decided to ban an advanced placement course on African American studies. Yes, that's right. Now, also, DeSantis is trying to defend his decision with a lot of nonsense. But before we get to more of that nonsense, here are some of the details of what's going on.
I thought about moving to Florida, but I remembered I don't look good with my shirt off. Don't say that about yourself. You're beautifully and wonderfully made. That hair looked like cheap rope. You're going to get me in trouble making those jokes, dude. Pay for a good lawyer as much as they would. Exactly.
So the Florida Department of Education is asserting that the course violates state law and is historically inaccurate. Yes, that AP course on African American studies.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it up when Shane comes on. She's not as funny to me. She's too boring.
And Republican snowflakes are the problem in the world. Without Republican snowflakes, there won't be any snow to account for due to climate change everywhere. It's the Republicans who are the true snowflakes in the world. Back to you, Cenk, in the studio.
But that would actually require having a backbone. Cenk.
Yeah. Well, Adrian, you're actually talking about one of the most important parts of the story, because now DeSantis gets to bully the whole country. Any red state can say, hey, you know what? I don't like teaching about Black people. And that's what this is about, 100%. I'll get to the details of that in a second. But you know what? Well, why don't you change it up, okay? And while you're teaching about Black people, I don't want you to teach about gay Black people.
In 1654, the first known slave owner, he was a black man who owned the first. How dare you say that in my chat? I need her teeth whitening products. That girl's gleaming. Yeah, me too.
Okay, I want you to erase them from history. But wait, some of the big.
I love how disingenuous they are about CRT. You know, they just call it Black History. If that was
biggest.
And that's what the Sanctimonious was responding to. He was like, we teach Black history in Florida. And again, I think people try to assume so many people in 3rd and 4th grade are supposed to have these extensive histories, as opposed to teaching them they're in freaking 4th grade. If you want to go more focused studies in history, that's what you do when you grow up. You can just study whatever you want, and there's books everywhere out there. Or you go to college and waste your money on a history, unless you want to be a history professor.
People involved in the civil rights movement were happen to be gay, right? Can we teach about it? No, it sounds like queer theory. I don't even know what queer theory is. Look,
so you just said something that you have no idea what you said. If that doesn't sum up the show and its totality, I don't know what does.
Adrian, I'm gonna ask you. You're smarter than me. I don't know if it's a real theory and it's obscure graduate level thing that they're pulling now and creating this critical.
Cenk owned a golden retriever and his dog refused to kiss him. Oh my God, that's the biggest, saddest, cutest diss ever.
Race theory kind of aura around it, or did he just make it up? I've never heard of it before.
It's one of those things with critical race theory that that DeSantis can't define any of these things. He wants to slap theory on the back end of something to generate some kind of fear among people who really have no idea what they're talking about. And I would say Santos is the same in terms of his approach. The fact is that this AP African American Studies, as you've noted, Cenk, it probably did address the intersectional aspects of individuals' lives in terms of the remarkable changes and advancement and progression in our society that Black people made, who happen to also have that intersectional dynamic and aspect of a certain sexual identity or a gender identity that also may have complicated their fight and their struggle, or even made it even more incredible. And those are beautiful things that should be brought up and should be discussed. And yet we see DeSantis trying to pinpoint that.
The problem is that you want to do that with second graders. I mean, this bill that they like are so triggered by, it's up to second grade. What are we doing? We're supposed to teach our first graders about queer theory. We're supposed to teach them about like, you know, I ask my 4-year-old every day, like, who do you identify as? What are you today? I'm a velociraptor. Then you be the best velociraptor you can be. What are your pronouns? Velosa and pater. God, it's so stupid. Jake once tried to hug himself and to try to imagine what human contact feels like. He figured out way to screw that. Oh God, that's so sad. That's so freaking sad.
And to sexualize it because he knows.
Wait, we're going to tell you the info after we claim you know the real perspective. Exactly. Thanks, Willie.
In our puritanical society, that hypersexualization of people will get these individuals scared and allow people to say, yes, exactly. We don't want these groomers or all of this nonsense that they want to.
Imagine if you're a mushrooms and see that awful wig. It's, oh my God, it's a weave. Get over it.
Leverage and wage. And that is truly what DeSantis is getting at and trying to bully people out of knowledge and education to understand the evolution and development of our society and the contributions made by people who are not cis-het white males.
Yeah, and so.
Oh, I hate those.
When the College Board gets intimidated like this, then they might change the.
I love how this like shows like 90% of my shorts. It's just so easy.
Of course, the whole country and wipe out all queer people or LGBTQ folks.
Our kids don't know Alaska is a state, and they can't tell that. Like, so many kids have no idea how many states are in America. You know what I mean? Or they don't know about the Constitution. Or a lot of kids grow up not even hearing about the Bill of Rights, which is more important than the Constitution in my eyes. So I don't know. Our education system is freaking terrible, and this idea that we're going to make it worse instead of just, you know, teaching kids more simplistic ideas that they can grasp onto and that affects change and affects them the rest of their life, or gives them a profound nationalistic pride, or like, you know, what our founders were trying to envision for the rest of America, whether they were slave owners or not. Yeah, a lot of people do douchey things in their whole life, or terrible things, and yet there's still some quality and goodness about them. Or can still push out good ideas like the founding fathers did, you know, about separation of like powers and like for you to have individual freedoms and your own divine right, because based on God rather than, you know, the government giving you freedom. Like, these ideas are like so profound and so wonderful. That's the kind of stuff that should be taught, not like, hey, I just want to remind you again, you know, some of these really great men also owned slaves, and so we need to like just get rid of any idea that they put forth based on this idea. It's just so dumb. Like, that's the kind of stuff you learn later in life when you have like eye-opening stuff. You're like, it's like growing up and you thinking your parents are like amazing human beings, and then later in life you find out they kind of screwed up a lot later in life. You don't tell them as their children growing up, like, you know, son, I used to smoke crack. Like, you don't say that to a 5-year-old. Like, you just like, you wait till they're grown up and then you like maybe like give some of that revelation, you know, like it's just so dumb. So teach kids basic foundational truths so that they can go on and make a difference in the world, or make it feel like I'm so thankful to be here as an American citizen. And people cross deserts or cross oceans in small boats from like Cuba and stuff and risk their lives in order to be here. That's why this nation is such a wonderful place to be. Like, give them a sense of pride and give them a sense of hope and security and a goodness feeling. That's what you want to teach kids, not, hey, by the way, you're a white cis male, go in the corner. Your life is easy compared to the black kid over there. It's like, why would you even introduce that? Even if you thought that was true, why would you want to continue that kind of rhetoric and thoughts? And especially traumatizing kids as they grow up, letting a kid know there's nothing about you that you can do to change your life. You can even if you're the best most well-rounded, good person out there known to mankind, you're still an evil white supremacist deep down inside, and your parents probably were slave owners. Oh, they weren't. They were poor, and they were probably worked for minimum wage and poor slaves' wages, and they died early in life, and they didn't have land and stuff like that too. I don't care. They could have. I just can't even. I can't even. I'm just bringing all that smoke. We're so great that people right now are walking thousands of miles to Jave for a chance. Yeah, exactly. And that's the Derek O'Shea promise. Yeah, thank you for saying that. I'm sorry I was on a little tangent. I get so passionate about teaching children well. And why do you want to they're obsessed with trying to confuse. I mean, I get why they're trying to confuse children, because then it creates children's desires and hopes to look to them for the answers in the world, rather than looking to, their community, their parents. Hopefully they're still together, or their mom or dad that are making positive influence in their life, or their church, or positive influence, as opposed to looking to the government for your security. I mean, there's a reason why so many of these kids are have climate anxiety and crap like that, because the government is telling them, look to me for your answers and I will give you your truth for the day. All right, I'm wrapping this show up. I'm off my high horse. I got to get off of it and come back down. Thank you guys so much. Shank went to his high school reunion and realized his entire life was a colossal failure. My God, why? He's subsidized by YouTube and places like that. He's a massive success in his eyes, even if he's pays for all his views. And I'm one of his. Government is the problem and not the solution. I will make a glorious monarch. I'm excited about your days, Wes. Thank you guys so much for joining me on tonight's show. You guys mean a lot to me. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you guys make a difference in someone's life today or tomorrow. Be a shoulder to listen to, be a shoulder to lean on for those that are hurting in this world. I hope you push for hope in this world, because there are so many people out there that are trying to tell you that the world is going to end. And even if that's true, fight for hope, fight for the white pill, fight for the feel good, and that there is a better tomorrow, because that's what I want to bring to this show from now on. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. Tomorrow is already going to be a better day. Today was tough, but tomorrow's going to be a better day. I promise you that. We're going to keep fighting for that. We're going to keep fighting it. The same way they're brainwashing our kids, messed up, they could be doing the same thing to make them great. Exactly. Derek is getting heated. It's my time of the month. I'm a little over the top. Trust me, Shank is filled with emptiness, and none of us could possibly fathom, even in the darkest of our days. Exactly. Dude, I love every single one of you guys. You guys are fantastic human beings. If you don't mind smashing a like, if you're watching on YouTube and on Rumble, hit that thumbs up button if you don't mind watching. I have some people watching on YouTube. It means a lot to me that you guys are checking me out. Oh, you guys are smashing the thumbs up on YouTube. Awesome. Jim Nobody, JJ Nobody says Dems run cities. Yes, I do. Yeah. Well, they're better at getting massive amount of people to vote for them. And thank you guys. Willie, thanks so much for the super chat tonight. Appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic and wonderful day. I will see you again live tomorrow night for the stream, as we are streaming every Sunday through Thursday. Come hang out. Come say hello. Come say good things. Tell somebody, hi, Wire Diver. Have a good one, Derek. The world is going to collapse soon, though. I know it is, but we're here to laugh our way through it and enjoy our time, and tomorrow's going to be a better day because we have each other. Amen? Amen, brother. Thank you. Amen to that, too. All right. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys are amazing. And all that good stuff. I'll see you tomorrow. Tell your friends and family I said shalom. Tell your mother I said hi.
it.